We need that European perspective, and we are going to get that here on the stage here today, as well as we have one of the leading voices in wind energy evolution in the continent. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome on the stage the CEO of WindEurope, Mr. Giles Dickson. Welcome.
Minister, Commissioner, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to you all. Where is wind energy in Europe today? That's how much is installed, and it's now 1/5 of all the electricity that we are consuming. That's the installed capacity in every country, and the red is the share of wind in every country's electricity mix. That's where we are today. Where are we going? So that's, again, where we are today. The dark blue is onshore, light blue offshore. That's the target that the European Union have set for 2030. Very ambitious. Lots of growth in just 5 years. Are we going to meet that target? No. We'll get close, but not close enough, because the permitting is still not working everywhere. We still have challenges on grid connections, and electricity demand is not growing fast enough because we're not electrifying the energy system quickly enough. However, here in Latvia, you are making progress. Well done. That's how much we expect you to have in operation in just 5 years' time. Your first onshore, big onshore wind projects for many years now under development, Latvenergo, Aeolus, K2, Ventum. Well done to all of those developers. Well done to the government for requiring the developers to pay taxes to municipalities. It's what happens everywhere else in Europe, helps to strengthen local support. Well done to the government in simplifying the permitting procedures. Well done to the government in upgrading the radar installations, which is allowing some of these projects to go ahead. And as Chris Barton has pointed out, the more wind you have, the greater your energy independence, the greater your energy security. And on security, the wind industry is totally committed to working hand in hand with military authorities, security establishment, to ensure happy coexistence between the wind farms we are building and the crucial national security interests. Actually, wind is good for national security, obviously because of improving energy security, but also wind, especially at sea, those turbines help to improve our situational awareness. And the wind industry is very happy to host cameras, sensors, antennae, other military hardware to improve that situational awareness and to share all the images and data that come from that. Now, you're going to need lots of investments in new wind farms, both onshore and offshore, and investments only happen if the investors have a very clear view of what their revenues are going to be over the lifetime of a project. The wind industry and the European Union are very clear about the best way of ensuring that revenue stability. It's called contracts for difference. It's how they work. Payments go in both directions. When the market price is below the auction price, then yes, the government pays out to the developers. But when it's the other way round, we pay you. So the total amount of money it costs governments is quite low. There's the alternative. There's your variable revenue. Banks don't like that. Very reluctant to lend to those sort of projects because they don't know if the developer's going to be able to pay them back. Of course, they do with the contract for difference, because they can see for 15 years there's a red line of very stable revenues. And this impacts on the cost of financing projects. When you've got a CFD, you're looking at, hypothetically, total lifetime costs of electricity of 80 euros a megawatt hour. That very same project without a CFD, because the financing costs are so much higher, we'll be looking at average lifetime costs of 140 euros a megawatt hour. There are other ways of providing revenue stability. PPAs work, at least where there is an off-taker and big industrial demand. That is not always the case. In most cases, it's a contract for difference. Hence, this is the recommended model of the EU. It's the model that most countries in Europe are now following. And even Denmark and Germany, which have used a different model for their offshore wind, up until now are seriously considering switching to CFDs. And I stress this because investors are free to invest anywhere in Europe in new wind farms, and they are going to prefer to invest in those countries that are offering CFDs and stable revenues. They're also going to prefer to invest in those countries that are offering very simple CFD systems. As Chris and others have mentioned, wind brings wider economic benefits to society. That is the contribution of the wind industry to GDP in Europe today, and every time we build a new wind turbine, that on average is the new net economic activity that is generated. It's great that Latvia is embracing this now. It was so heartwarming to hear and see what Kaspars Melnis was saying in his video, and he's now very much part of the mainstream in Europe. Here he is speaking just 2 weeks ago at the annual WindEurope conference in Copenhagen. So it's great to be here, great to learn of your ambition, great to see the many positive things that you are doing with government policy, and we hope you'll continue to do the right things at government level to make a reality of your ambitions. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you.